You know, it feels like we might have reached a pivotal point in Diablo 4's history. What I mean by that is I think that there's a decent chance at some point in the future we'll look back to right about now and say this is when the game really started to turn things around. As you may have heard, and as covered in my latest review, Diablo 4's recent Season 4 update has been met with an overall positive reception from the community, as opposed to prior seasons, which fell somewhere on the scale of this is decent to mixed all the way down to I don't care, which is worse than thinking it's bad. And that's pretty much exactly how I felt. I had a fun enough time with Diablo 4 at release, but eventually stopped playing for a variety of reasons, and nothing about Seasons 1, 2, or 3 was enticing enough to bring me back. But then come Season 4 with its changes and the culmination of updates that had happened over the past year, I was ready to jump back in, and I am glad I did, because between the changes to the loot and crafting systems, a few new endgame activities, a much more satisfying upgrade and progression loop, and pages upon pages of quality of life fixes, all of that resulted in Diablo 4 today being vastly improved compared to what it was at release. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think the game needs work. It could use even more content variety, and I would love to see them take a stab at anything that feels innovative and fresh for the genre, but they are definitely on the right track. They're making the game better, and as time goes on, it feels more and more worth the purchase price. And I think you can really see this in the numbers as well, taking a look at the only metrics we have access to, which is the Steam player count. Just this past week, the game exceeded its all-time peak, reaching nearly 40,000 concurrent players some 8 months after it first arrived on the platform. Now, you have to know, this is an exceedingly rare feat for any game, no matter the variables. Most games, as you know, will see their peak at or shortly after launch, not weeks, let alone months after they come out. Now, there are some variables though, and these are worth discussing. A few factors here to keep in mind. First of all, Steam is most certainly the least popular platform for Diablo 4. When the game first released, it was available on PC only via Battle.net, as well as being available on consoles. The Steam release didn't happen until mid-October, so anyone who bought Diablo 4 on Steam did so long after the initial launch. These are mostly going to be brand new players, barring the occasional person who buys the game twice because they prefer it on Steam or something, right? Another thing to keep in mind is that this mid-season bump coincides with a whole lot of other stuff. There was a discount, a full 50% off the game available. They also hosted an anniversary event rewarding players who log in with free cosmetics. And there was the Mother's Blessing event, which granted boost and experience to gold gain. And they added a brand new pet system, providing pets that follow you around collecting currency and materials. All four of these things combined, the discount, the cosmetic event, the XP and gold event, and adding pets, those are all Blizzard providing additional incentives for people to buy and or return to playing the game, driving up those concurrent numbers. Nevertheless, it is worth noting that the prior peak player count before all of these incentives happened, that occurred on May 19th, a few days after the launch of Season 4. It seems pretty clear that the positive word of mouth and general buzz around this update had played a major contributing role into the surge of new and returning players. I do think it's way too easy to just write off this new peak count as being solely due to the sale or solely due to the events or all of those things combined, but it really isn't that simple. You have to remember there are thousands and thousands of other games on sale right now or hosting in-game events that aren't at or anywhere near breaking their all-time peak player counts. I cannot stress enough how big of a deal it is to break your peak count 8 months after release on the platform. You know, Diablo 4 came out a year ago, but Diablo 4 came to Steam 8 months ago, and the fact that they've broken their peak on that particular platform, that is a big deal. It's a massive deal for absolutely any game. And the most recent peak for Diablo 4, that nearly 40,000 concurrent, which occurred on June 9th, this was definitely achieved with the help of the sale of those events and of adding pets, but also because the game is in a much better place, it has vastly improved, and the recent season generated a lot of positive word of mouth. If not for those things, the sale and events wouldn't matter nearly as much. And if you want proof proof of that, again, look at the thousands of other games on Steam that go on sale that player numbers barely budge or that have XP events or whatever. We have decades of data proving as much. Decades of games going on sale and having events, and again, not getting anywhere near their peak on that particular platform. And again, yes, we are just talking about Steam, and we admit that Steam is almost certainly the least popular platform. It's the segment of the PC player base, the vast majority of which is probably playing just straight via Battle.net. Nevertheless, those are the metrics we can track. And if anything, that is even in Diablo 4's favor, because if it is the smallest portion of the player base and it is seeing that sort of a surge, we have to then wonder what the other proportions, the other segments of the Diablo 4 player base, what those numbers look like, because there's more players there, so maybe they even got to higher heights. It is certainly quite possible. Now, on top of that discussion, and no doubt actually playing into it as well, was the fact that there was a whole bunch of new stuff revealed. We had the Diablo 4 announcements during Summer Game Fest with a brand new cinematic trailer, a quick developer update, and a release date reveal for the upcoming expansion, Vessel of Hatred. So the cinematic trailer came out. It was impressive, as a lot of Blizzard cinematic trailers are, although it's all the way near the bottom of things that I care about. Show me gameplay, show me new features and systems, neither of which we really got a clear examples of. But yeah, a 3-minute movie really doesn't convey useful information for the stuff that matters to me personally, but it is marketing. I get it, and it works. These trailers absolutely sell games. It's how the industry has functioned for quite some time. I don't know that that's changing. We did get some new details, though. A few paragraphs highlighting bullet point features of the expansion, combined with things that we have learned in the past year or so. Here's what we know. First of all, there's the brand new class. This is called the Spiritborn. They describe this as an apex predator of the jungle, poised to strike battle with styles and mystical synergies that could only be awakened deep beneath the jungle's canopy, with the entirely new class to the iconic Diablo series. So yes, this is a brand new class. Two words that that stand out there are the notion that we're battling with styles. That sounds like different fighting styles that you can choose from, as well as mystical synergies. I don't know what much to make of that, but at a glance, this kind of looks like some sort of a monk/druid hybrid. Now, that is just judging from the concept art. We actually have no clue how it plays as of yet, but we will soon. We do see, though, that the character is wearing an outfit that includes the head and pelt of a large jungle tiger, fangs and all, with some additional animal features like faces, fangs, and claws on various armor pieces, and what appears to be a leopard print tattoo. So maybe this class makes use of animal spirits or something. That seems entirely possible. He is also wielding what appears to be a staff with blades on both ends, although I am not one for identifying ancient weaponry, so correct me if that's wrong if you know specifically what kind of weapon that is. Now, they have announced that a Spiritborn gameplay livestream will take place on July 18th, so we're going to actually get to see the new class in action sometime pretty soon. We're also getting a brand new region, expanding Sanctuary to discover new towns and bygone civilizations shrouded in the vast area of Nahantu. Here we will come across new dungeons and strongholds, brand new enemy types from ferocious demons to warring tribes, and these are all outgrowths of Karast and Taganza, they say. So yes, anyways, this is a new jungle region. It's like a dark, deep jungle with all sorts of mystical stuff happening, right? I love this setting in most fantasy games. Always happy to see it added. The concept art and cinematics look really cool. Interested to see how it's represented in game, but more specifically, beyond the cosmetic differences in a jungle area, new gameplay systems, features, new things to do and engage with. That's what I'm really interested in. Maybe less so like variations on the public event, following a different kind of spirit around to rescue their bones or find their amulets or whatever, you know what I mean? Hoping for more interesting variety and content pretty much across the board. There is going to be, of course, a more addition to the campaign in terms of narrative. The Vessel of Hatred will continue where Diablo 4's base game story left off, with Neyrel's journey across Sanctuary while in possession of Mephisto's Soulstone. It's worth adding here as well that Blizzard has confirmed that new players do not have to play through the original Diablo 4 story to experience Vessel of Hatred. There will be a recap to catch players up if they want to play the expansion story straight away, jumping in for the first time. Love to see it. Mercenaries are coming to the game. Here it says, discover and recruit new mercenaries to join you on your quest. These powerful allies fight alongside you, grow in power as they progress, and help you in combat with unique abilities. Now, during an IGN Live event that took place recently, D4's production director, Tiffany Watt, said, if you are a longtime fan of Diablo, mercenaries are coming to Diablo 4. They're going to be able to level up with you, and they will have their own skill trees, and that is the most detail we have gotten. So it seems like these might work like how followers worked in Diablo 3, or how mercenaries worked in Diablo 2. They will be unique characters with their own playstyles and skills that you can hire to join and fight alongside you. In the screenshot provided for this feature, we see 4 different mercenary types. They appear to be a tank, an archer, a mage, and a berserker. Next up is the new content type. Specifically, they describe this as new PvE co-op endgame activity. The quote for this is, "Party up and take on a new multifaceted dungeon with powerful challenges and promising rewards. First of its kind to Diablo, this dungeon will require eager warriors to team up and take down the challenge together." So no real details here. At a minimum, this appears to be group-focused content, something like a group dungeon. I'm curious how they're going to balance this group focus. You know, this is not a Holy Trinity kind of game. It's all just dodging attacks and DPSing, right? That's how world bosses work, for example. So we're going to have some larger boss fights in a maybe more extended dungeon. Will there be any procedural nature to this in terms of the dungeon layout? There's certainly a lot of questions here. Boss mechanics, room mechanics, puzzles, obstacles to avoid. What sort of thing are they going to be adding? At the very least, they are selling this as a first of its kind to Diablo. So we shouldn't just expect bigger versions of Nightmare Dungeons scaled for more players. We're expecting more from this based on how they're selling it. We will, of course, see what we get. Some people are saying that this is them coming out with a raid. I guess that's possible, although, again, they are specifically tagging this as a co-op endgame activity and not like a large-scale group endgame activity, although co-op can technically mean any number of people. You usually think smaller number. You think like 2 to 4 and not like 5 to 10 necessarily, but this is just a semantics discussion. More details were said to be coming soon. No TM there in terms of how soon that soon is. Maybe we get some teases during that Spiritborn live stream that's happening next week. We will see. And then there are going to be some base game updates. So all of Diablo 4 players can venture forward and pick up new pets to aid in gold and material pickup today. I'll touch on that. Plus, experience more updates coming to all players when Vessel of Hatred releases. You can empower your favorite classes. We're going to have new class skills, they say, added Paragon boards and legendary glyphs to go along with that. And we can explore new dungeon types as well as added activities and rewards from the Tree of Whispers. Lot that could be loaded in there. What exactly do they mean by new dungeon types? Does it mean new dungeons that have different objectives or a new style of dungeon? Are they just referencing the co-op end game activity there? Who knows? New activities and rewards from the Tree of Whispers. Are they just referencing the new events that are in the new zone and some of that's going to bleed into the base game? And do keep in mind, these base game updates, they apply to everyone whether or not you buy and purchase the Vessel of Hatred expansion. Everyone gets it. That's why it's called a base game update. Now the pets, they mentioned that, and yes, they are available immediately. You can now log in. If you head over to Kyovashad, you will get the Faithful Companion questline automatically. It then asks you to approach a well-behaved dog in town. Reassuring the dog unlocks your very first pet, which can be found in your wardrobe. So similar to how this worked in Diablo 3, pets pick up currency and materials. So that includes things like gold, ore, herbs, crafting mats, forgotten souls, obols, cinders, and gem fragments. Without a doubt, also, this will be another thing that will be offered for sale in the cash shop going forward. Speaking of money, we have a release date and pre-orders available. Lucky you for the Vessel of Hatred. So the game will be launching on October the 8th. Of course, they've got the pre-orders all ready to go. If you fancy yourself some additional in-game cosmetics, pets, or a unique mount, packages range from $40 to $90. $90 expansions. Love to see. I know it comes with the additional stuff and the currency, but boy, just AAA gaming, man. Love it. Love it and hate it. Truly. I love parts of it, hate parts of it. There you go. So again, at the top, as I said, I think there's a real good chance a few years down the road, we're going to look back to around now, around the launch of Season 4, leading up to the expansion, as a turning point for the game, barring that things continue to improve and things move in a good direction going forward. How is Season 5 going to be? And how is the expansion going to be? They're talking a lot of game here, or not really, but they've got some bullet points here in terms of what the expansion is going to become with. A lot of it's almost like what I expected. Of course, we expected a new zone. We expected a new class, and they've just been super vague on that endgame activity. Really, frankly, I think the expansion needs to be way more than just a new zone and class. I would consider it a disappointment if the endgame loop were exactly the same as it is today, plus that new co-op endgame activity. The wording also makes it sound like there's just going to be one of these group dungeons in the expansion. That's what it sounds like from the way they worded it here. I guess we'll see, right? But they're on a good path if they keep improving the game, if they keep adding more quality of life, some of the highly requested community features, and focus on more content, but more so new varieties of content and new varieties of activities and things to work towards in the end game. That's what we're really looking for, and I hope that the expansion delivers. What do you guys think? You looking forward to the expansion? How do you feel about Season 4? How do you feel about Diablo 4 in general right now? Personally, my prediction came true of my personal habits. I jumped into the expansion. I really enjoyed it. I think the game is in a really good spot. But yeah, I played for about 2.5 weeks, and that was pretty much it. I'm good, right? I'll put it down. I'll come back for Season 5. I guess I'll log in to get my pet, right? They're doing it. They're doing the FOMO. They got me. Congrats, Blizzard. Hate it. But yeah, I think Diablo 4, it's good, and it's getting better, and I'm really hoping they can knock it out of the park with the expansion and really... It sounds good, but nothing has me like over the moon hyped right now from what they've announced. But maybe that's just because we don't have enough details. How big and expansive is the new zone going to be? And how much new variety of content is there going to be? Those are the big questions, and we'll see what the answers are at some point in the future. Thanks again. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.